4 years ago, when I ran for office, I made promises to the people, and I was able to keep those promises. But getting through to the completion of them is a big deal. So for us, we have projects that are on the books that I want to make sure get through. FDR Boulevard is one of them. We have the adult detention center that's underway. Well, I'm looking at tax relief as well, and the only way we can do that is continuing what we've already started. We had a group that got together and looked at whether it should be just a senior center, it should be a community center, or just a library. And what was most fiscally responsible was to put the senior center together with the library. A community center is something that's totally separate from that, and I don't think that it should be a community center that's there. The library currently in Leonardtown, it's not meeting the demands of the people.
Right.
And the senior center, if anybody goes by there, you can see that it's outdated. They deserve better than that, and now they're going to get better than that.
So do you think we also need a youth center?
I do. I believe that as our county grows, we're going to have to find different infrastructure, different places for people to go, especially the youth, and not only the youth, but community centers for all ages.
Exactly.
So what I do believe, though, is that we need to actually apply a study to the entire county, that it's not just specific to one spot in the county, because that's where just the basic momentum is. I think that the momentum that's behind the community center or the expansion of parks and rec services needs to be placed across the whole county. I think there's two sides to it. The P25 portion of the system that we are mandated by law to update to, which would have required the infrastructure, the towers, the cell sites that go along with it,
Right.
was an investment the county needed to make anyway. So of that $36 million, there was a significant amount that was put into that to make it happen. We were going to have to do that anyway. I hope that the radio system that previous boards have invested in will meet the needs of our 911 personnel, our first responders. I'm prepared that if it does not, to seek other options. I hope that the current vendor is doing everything they can, their due diligence, to
Harris
fix
Corporation.
Harris Radios, to go ahead and fix the problems that are there. It's not just the phases being implemented, there's software issues, there's console issues that we have in communications, and there's been issues with the actual computer software itself.
Right, now wasn't there some custom programming done with the radios to customize for our area?
Well, there was customization done as far as encryption keys that were done for law enforcement side of things. That is not separate from, doesn't make it any different or, let's say, functionality of the system. That's the only thing. Many law enforcement agencies use encryption, so the radio
Right.
should operate the same.
Right.
As far as the towers are concerned, the FCC, everything was done to the way it's supposed to
So
be.
the county didn't have special requirements that they needed, not just the encryption, but anything special for the volunteers, maybe in the low-lying areas? Just curious as to why, we have 3 separate phases. Just curious if is there something, an oversight on our part that we may have missed?
Well, I don't know if it's anything that we missed on our end. I would say that overall, when you're looking at the system and the way the county is laid out, the geography of the county,
Right.
there's going to be areas where communications just isn't going to work. But 99% of the time is what you're looking, 99.9999%.
Right.
And that's why we went with Maryland First as a backup to this system right now, because they have that 99.999% uptime. So if
Yeah.
something does happen, our first responders can still talk. Do we have enough towers? The FCC says we have enough towers. Everybody says that everybody meaning Harris Corporation and our consultants say there's enough towers, there's enough coverage. However, we're still having issues inside schools, buildings, with depending on the lining and the roof. It depends on the shopping centers.
Right.
So too is there leaves on the trees. Some of the issues we've had with it going down has been the consoles going down, the actual computer programming behind connecting the radios to the
Right.
dispatchers. So sometimes it's the radios, sometimes it's the computer software, the consoles that are there, and it all needs to be reset. A lot of it's funding, so that's some of the issues that we have with it, is allocating the appropriate funding on the tight budget we have, but it's also federal dollars. What I think we can do to improve is I've already requested from our department head to find out about tracking the buses, because if we track the buses through either GPS or there's another cellular system that you can actually see where the buses are.
Right.
Similar, if anybody is looking at it. If you pull up your phone for Uber, you see where your car is coming and where it's going. It's the same thing.
There's an app.
There's an app for it. So that's one way to order the buses and get more designed routes, but also the expansion of those services. Maybe looking at Lexington Park as its own commuter route in itself, and this frees up other buses to move through it.
Right.
So there's options on the table. We have a great director of public works, and he's bringing a lot of options to us, and I support them, being that it's hard to connect people in a rural county. So we need to do more about it.
How about on the roads? We have a lot of congestion on the roads.
We
A lot
do.
of things here and there. A lot of projects.
We do. There's lots of projects. There's lots of congestion. It's
What's-
not an easy fix.
What's next on the list?
Well, right now it's getting FDR Boulevard opened all the way down to Peg, and right now we have phase 1 and 2 that's basically opening up. So that's down to Old Rolling Road the end of November. We're going to start pulling traffic off of 235, and people will be able to bypass that, go to their homes, go to the shops, go to the businesses, St. Andrews Church Road, go straight to Wildwood. So we're hoping we're going to alleviate some of that. I think this board has really put it into high gear with economic development. And we said we would, and we did, and we got a great department head in there, Chris Casalemas. The airport is amazing. You got to go down there. You got to take a look at it.
I went there last week and it's wonderful.
It is. I mean, we're looking
It
at the
is.
third building coming in for University of Maryland. We have all sorts of businesses coming in, not just local business, not just state business, but international business that's coming there to go ahead and test engines. We got the University of Maryland unmanned test site. The construction, it's booming. We have 14 acres in the back that is going to be pad site ready for industry to come in. Hopefully our partners at Pax River will be able to build there, test there, fly out of there. And then we have the other side where the FAA is giving the extension to the runway and the taxiway. We've repurposed the terminal building, which has never been used now.
Right.
It's never been used as a terminal. It's trying to balance the rights of homeowners that live on the water,
Right.
as well as the aquaculture. So yeah, you have the difference between the watermen and then the aquaculture. They are one and the same, but they're not. There's two separate industries essentially. The county does not have a say in this argument whatsoever, and the reason we don't is because it's a state law. And that would be just like the county. We cannot regulate firearms because the Maryland State Police regulate firearms.
Why
It's
would
state law.
Why would the county commissioners vote to put a moratorium?
Well, there was no vote for for a moratorium. It was Commissioner Morgan had an ordinance put together to try and put together a moratorium on it, and it went to public hearing, and they're still getting the public comment back on this from all different angles. I think that was put together to see what can we bring to Annapolis to get Annapolis to go ahead and change it, because I point blank said it's just words on a piece of paper. There's no action that the commissioners can take. It's not enforceable because it's a state law. So we need to find a different solution to this that puts the balance for the homeowners and the aquaculture industry together.
Yeah.
Well, first I want to make sure that the record is set straight because some candidates are factually wrong on what they've been saying. The impact fee is not $25,000. So they read one article in the newspaper and they took that information and ran
Yeah, that was
with it.
probably a couple years ago.
Right. Yeah, and even so, in some recent forums, they've been saying that it's $25,000, but actually it's $5,500 right now. And over 5 years, it's going to go up to $6,500. So it's a 5-year period in which that fee will go up. Now, there is a formula that was put in place where if the school system is going to add more schools, the amount of the impact fee would go up. So our capital improvements basically dictate what that impact fee will be. So if we need a new elementary school and the cost of the elementary school is X amount of dollars, it plays into what that fee will go up to.
And how far away is St. Mary's County from needing a elementary school?
5 to 10 years at this point. So I don't anticipate this fee.
Next election.
Right. Yeah, yes, the next election. We actually found out through enrollment that we don't need the current elementary school that was on the books.
Why do you think that changed?
Enrollment? Well,
Did a lot of people leave?
Well, they were down by 150 students, and the flux and flow from the base, I think, has something to do with it. I think that when you look at people sending their children to private school, homeschooling, all of that plays a factor into what the actual enrollment is from our school system. So enrollment is down for the elementary school age children, and that's what the last Board of Education gave us. So I think that everything's positive right now. So that's why that project got moved out. Well, I thank you for the honor of allowing me to serve these last 4 years. It's truly been a privilege. I'm glad I was able to stand up to every single one of my promises, ask the hard questions, and never rubber stamp anything. Um, I hope that you'll continue to trust me and vote for me this November 6th. And anything that you need, I'm available. I'm approachable 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can always find me on Facebook, Twitter, county email, or my personal phone. That's how you get me. So thank you for taking the time to watch this, and thank you for
Thank you for
putting it
being
up.
here. Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions for our candidates, you can email elections@thebaynet.com. Election day is November 6th. Thank you for watching.